Hello, good morning. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'll just wait for a few minutes because still the students are joining. The first lecture is over, no?
Yes, sir.
I'll just open my presentation first. So during the last lecture, we saw introduction to manufacturing process. Then we also saw what is the classification based on the cheapless and cheap removal processes. Then we also saw what is various generating and forming processes. I'll quickly review. Manufacturing process means to any process which gives the product. So machining, casting, rolling, forging, these are the various manufacturing processes, or even stamping, blanking. These are all press operations. These are various manufacturing processes. So broad, it can be basically divided into two, that is cheapless and cheap removal processes. In cheap removal, the chips are produced, and in cheapless, the chips are not produced. So the examples of cheap removal processes are machining on lathe machine, then on drilling machine, milling machine, grinding machine. That is your cheap removal process. And cheapless means no chips are produced. So like casting, no chips produced. Rolling, no chips produced. Then in stamping, there is no chips are produced. So these are the examples of cheapless process. Press operations, powder metallurgy, that is cheapless process. And we also saw what was various generating and forming processes. There is problem with this presentation. We'll go for another. Not responding. Bandwidth issue. Let me close this. Generating in generating and forming process. So forming means you are all this casting, rolling, forging, extrusion. These all come under the category of forming processes. And generating in generating process, your two blanks they are rotating with some fixed velocity, and one is master, that is cutter, and another is blank on which the shape of the master gear is produced. That is what is called as the generating. So all gear cutting processes like say gear hobbing, then gear shaping, that comes under the category of generating process. That is the shapes or the profile is generated. That is the generating process.
Sir, please add Advait.
Please mute Advait तुम्हारा. And then there is a, yeah, Adnan, you have any doubt? Want to ask anything? Ad,
No, sir.
no, no, yeah. Is the screen visible? Now, is the screen visible, Adnan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh, how many of you have gone through the notes which I have already uploaded on the Google Drive in classroom?
Sir, you have not uploaded anything, so
I have uploaded two files. One file is manufacturing process, introduction to manufacturing processes, and second, that's a big file that is actually a lecture from IIT. In that, you have to only study because I am reducing your load. Correct? No. In that,
yes,
it's a presentation of say around 84 slides. Good presentation by IIT, out of which you can go through it, but from the examination point of view there are only first 15 slides which are important. Later on I'll share in the classroom which are the slides you have to learn or study properly. And then second file I have shared, that is uh, that is discussed. That's only one page. It's it will give you glimpse of chipless chip removal process, then generating and forming processes. So you have to learn that. So I'm just giving you what is important from your examination point of view. So I think you may not have checked. You may not have checked. You check later on. All right.
okay. I had
Arun
not
sir,
checked.
it's not showing.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's not in Google
I have
Classroom.
uploaded. You check later on, maybe in the afternoon, and then uh, in case you don't have access, you just let me know. Hmm? To whom shall I coordinate? It will be easy to coordinate with one person,
Hasnain.
one student. To whom?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
sir,
Definitely.
actually, we are like electing our CR. So once
Uh,
we elect it, will that CR will inform you, sir. Like
so
you'll get it.
so it will be easy to communicate. No, that will be
Yes,
otherwise
sir.
it will be
We will
havoc.
do it
So
by today, sir.
you select here today itself and let us know.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
So
sir.
this particular operation is called as the facing, which you have seen. This is a compound slide. Compound slide is also called as the top slide that you are knowing. This is used for taper turning. All right. Then feed shaft. Now the purpose of feed shaft is to give the feed. Feed means the mother feeds to the child. So feed means to move. To move. That is to move this longitudinally as well to move this transfer. So this particular motion is called the longitudinal. This motion is called as the transfer motion. Lead screw is used for cutting the threads. That is when screw cutting is on the lead screw. So there are two shafts. Last time also I told that it is protected with the help of guard so that accident should not happen. Because many times the people they have habit of keeping the legs over here. They'll keep the legs here, aram se, and do the turning, or many times the people they have very loose shirts, so that gets entangled in this feed screw and accident can you know an accident has happened. So machine tools, whenever you are working, you should be very careful. You should take all the safety precautions. That is what we say. Now what are the different lathe parts? So this particular part is called as the three jaw chuck. Three jaw chuck. Three jaw chuck. Hmm? See, there are three jaw. This is called as the jaw. This is called as the jaw. One, two, and three. This is called the jaw. It can be hard jaw or it can be soft jaw. Hard jaw is used for holding the rough material, which is in the cast form or which is in the roll form. Hard jaw will create the impression on the workpiece because of its hardness. Then what is the advantage of hard jaw? The grip is more. So it holds the workpiece firmly. So you can take the deep cuts. Workpiece will not vibrate. Workpiece will not fly off. This is the advantage of hard jaw. When to use soft jaw? Soft jaw means it will not be hard. We are using soft jaws to hold already a machined surface. It will not create any impression. So the finish is not damaged. Obviously, it will not have grip, which is given by the hard jaw. So there are limitations. You cannot take very deep cuts because the grip is not, clamping force is not as strong as hard jaw. Now you may read this, that is self-centering. Self-centering means what? This is key and this is your hole for the key in which this key has to be inserted, and then you have to rotate that key. So once you rotate that key, all the three jaws will come simultaneously in और it will move out simultaneously. एक साथ अंदर आएगा, एक साथ बाहर जाएगा. That is what is called as the self-centering. There is another type of chuck that is called the four-jaw chuck. In four-jaw chuck, now this is placed at 120 degree. In four-jaw chuck, the jaws are placed at 90 degree. In four-jaw chuck, every jaw can be moved independently in and out. So that is not a self-centering. Generally, four-jaw chuck is used for holding or accommodating odd shapes, square shapes, hexagonal shapes, any odd shapes. Whereas this three-jaw chuck is used generally for the round or some kind of a symmetrical component. It can be also used for holding hexagonal work also. Hexagonal, because hexagonal there are 6 faces. So this jaw will hold the 3 faces of the hexagonal because they are symmetric. Alright. This is the mounting of the workpiece. Right? So holding the workpiece in the three-jaw chucks. Normally we hold externally, that is, this is the workpiece which is hold on the external surface by the jaw. Alright. Now see this here. Workpiece is hold internally. See, this is what is your workpiece is, and this is what is your jaw. So workpiece is hold over here internally. That means workpiece is already having a hole or a bore inside, and that is used for location. Here the workpiece is hold on the external surface. Alright, so these two pictures are important. Forget about this. Another length part is tool post. This particular tool post is called as the four-way tool post. Four-way tool post. Why it is called the four-way tool post? You can mount 4 tools. One here, another here, then third here, and fourth is here. So there are 4 slots which you can see in which tools can be mounted. So you'll ask me how to mount. So you have a lever here, locking lever. It can be moved clockwise and anti-clockwise. So if you move like this, that is in anti-clockwise direction, it gets unlocked, and then this tool post can be indexed by 90 degree. Then fix up the tool, lock the tool with the help of these bolts, and then lock the tool post with the help of this locking lever. So there are 2 things you have to do. One lever, that is after indexing through 90 degree, you have to lock it with the help of this locking lever, and then with the help of these 3 bolts you have to tighten the tool. And when you are tightening the tool, you have to see that you apply sufficient reasonable force, not too hard. Otherwise this tool bit, which is made out of high speed steel, we call it the HSS, may break. This is your tool post. This is a square tool post. Okay? You have another tool post, that is round tool post. Now the advantage of this round tool post is only one tool can be hold here. Here you can hold 4 tools. So definitely the machining time will be reduced here. So for mass production you use this. If the production quantity is not that high, then you have to go for this round tool. You can see something like this rocker. Rocker means what? Like when you sit in the boat rocks, isn't it? Or your rocking toy, you must have seen that rocks. So technically we call this as a Woodruff key. Woodruff key that you learn in CAMD. This is what is your Woodruff key. So with the help of this Woodruff key, you can adjust the height of this tool up and down like this. If you move this Woodruff key in this direction, transfer direction, since this being an arc, it will allow to fall this tool up and down, or it can raise this tool also. So correspondingly, you can adjust the height of this tip in such a way that it matches exactly at the center of the workpiece. This tool tip should come exactly at the center of the workpiece. Remember, then only you get a perfect machining. If it is below the center line of the workpiece, or if it is above the center line of the workpiece, rubbing action will occur. It will not do proper cutting, and tool life will also be less. Let's go to the next slide. So these are the different kind of tool holders. Like say right hand tool holder, left hand tool holder, straight tool holders. Right hand tool holders means you are doing cutting or machining. The tool moves from right to left. Tool moves from right to left. Left hand tool holders means the tool while cutting moves from left to right. That is from the chuck to the tailstock. Right hand means the tool will move from the tailstock side to the headstock side. Left hand means the tool will move from the headstock side to the tailstock side. And straight tool holder, there is no restriction. You can move either way. That is, either you can do right hand cutting or you can do left hand cutting. It is used for holding cutting tool bits. This is what is called as the tool bit. This is what is called the tool bit, what you can see. And generally it is made up of high speed steel. It is available in squares, generally in inches. 1/8, 3/8, 1/4, half inch, like that, up to 1 inch, 1 inch by 1 inch. So it is also not only you have to specify the square size, you have to also specify the length. Lengthwise, it is available 4-inch long. So the length of this tool bit which has gone inside this, it is hollow. Inside this it is hollow. It is generally 4-inch. Why 4-inch? Because when this edge gets blunt, then you have to again grind it. So regrind it. So you can safely use 4-inch tool bit till it comes to half inch or 3/4 inch. Then you have to scrap it. So this is what is your cutting tools is. Generally we use high speed steel material on conventional machines, on conventional lathe machine. A typical tool will look like this. This entire thing is made up of high speed steel. The composition of high speed steel is 1841. Whenever I am sharing this PPT, you should not be confused. Now this is by VRAN. VRAN is nothing but the name of the author. Name of the author, and nothing to do with this technical writings. So this is what is your cutting part. So initially it will be a square piece, and from this you have to, it has been grind. So there are many angles, almost 9 angles has been given, and that is what is called the tool grinding. So in order to get a perfect machining, you have to do proper grinding. Now in this, This is what is your cutting part is. This portion is shank which goes inside. This portion is for the heel, like our shoes ka heel. Then major cutting edge. See, this cutting edge is doing actual cutting, and now this tool will move in this direction. Aisa, like this, like this. Look at my arrow. So the cutting will happen like this because this edge is being used for cutting. That's why it is called the major cutting edge. So when you are doing OD turning, you have to use this cutting. So obviously other edge will be called as the minor cutting edge. So what I told, one was HSS tool bit. Now HSS tool bits is costly because the entire this tool bit is made up of high speed steel. The composition is 1841, that is 18% is tungsten, then 4% is chromium, and 1% is vanadium. 1841, that is the most popular configuration. Another type is you have a tip. This tip is sintered. Sintered means using powder metallurgy, you make this tip. Now this is a body. This body is generally made out of low cost material like your MS or ENet. This is a low cost material, so we don't bother. See, for example, now suppose if this square tool bit 4 inch and say 10 mm by 10 mm, that is 3/8 square. 3/8 square by 4 inch tool bit will cost you around 1500 rupees. Then instead of that, you go for this tip. This tip will cost you around 150 rupees, not more than 150 rupees. And this is a shank which is made out of MS. That will cost you around say 10 or 15 rupees. So the entire this tool will cost you around 150 rupees, not more than that. This tip, you will ask me how to fix up. Generally it is brazed. You must have learned welding, brazing, soldering, or you must have seen also आजू बाजू में. Generally this tip is braze. यहाँ से ऐसे braze करते हैं, brazing, and then it is used. Only the problem with this that you cannot keep on using again and again. Once it becomes blunt, then most of the times you have to throw it, and that's why we use indexable inserts or indexable tips. Means once this cutting edge gets damaged, then you have to remove this. Usually it is fastened with the help of a screw. Then you index it, use another edge, then you use in this particular insert you can use 1, 2 and 3 after by indexing, and you can use also from the bottom also. So if it is a indexable inserts which are little costly, then you can use 6 times, then you can use it for 6 times. If it is brazed like this, then generally it is once. Some small scale industries, smaller units, they use this by doing regrinding, but professional machining industries, they usually throw it. What are the different cutting tool angles? So this is important from your examination point of view. The question asked will be describe the various tool angles which are given on the lathe tools. That is draw and describe. So generally it is for the 6 to 7 marks. Let us say this is a front view and this is a side view. So now here there are two angles which has been drawn. So initially it is a rectangular piece and the cross section is square. This is a square cross section and this is a rectangle. So from this angle is ground, which is called as the front or top rake. So you must remember this diagram. There are few more angles. This diagram you should be able, which is a simple diagram, and you must remember all the angles. There will be always confusion in the angles. How many angles are here in this diagram? There are 4 angles. Remember, there are 4 angles. one is like this. So if I look perpendicular to this, this is like this in the front view, this angle. And if you look from the side, then also one more angle is given. I hope you are understanding. So this angle as well as this edge has been given angle which can be seen in the side view like this. So there are two angles here. One is your top rake and another is your side rake. The purpose of this top right angle is to guide the chips. The chips, when you are cutting, the chips will be guided like this. Chips will be broken off and then it will fall down. Then next angle is your front clearance. This angle is for the front clearance. And if you look from the side, there is one more angle which is given, that is what is called the side clearance. The purpose of this front clearance is, now your workpiece is here. See, round workpiece is here like this. Like this. Imagine the workpiece is here, all right, and this tool is cutting. So suppose if it is had it been straight like this, then it will rub. So in order to avoid that rubbing, this angle is given, which is for the front clearance and side clearance. So there are, so far you have studied four angles. This is your, again I repeat, this is your front view and this is your side view. So front view you can see these two angles, and side view again you can see two angles. So there are four angles. So this will be a combination of two angles. Finally it will be a combination of these two angles, this and this, and here also there will be a combination of two angles. So what is the purpose of rake angle? So the basic purpose of rake angle, it allows the chip being cut to flow out. So it guides the chip and chip can flow out. Otherwise accident will happen. The chips will damage the operator. It makes the machining easy. Machining easy means the power consumption will be less. All right. Then for question number 1, which is generally of 4 to 5 marks, or sometimes 2 marks question also can be asked in unit test. So there it may be asked, so what is the purpose of large rake angle, or true and false? Large rake angles is used for ductile material or whether it is used for brittle material. So large rake angles are used for soft and ductile material, and small rake angles are used for hard and brittle material. Now what do you mean by ductile material? Ductile means your material can be drawn in the shape of wire. That is what is called as the ductile. MS is a ductile material because MS wire can be produced. Brass is a ductile material because brass wires can be produced. Brittle means, hard and brittle means it will fail or it will break easily, like say chalk. Chalk falls down, it will break. So it's a brittle material. Or a glass. Glass, if it falls down, it will break. So it's a brittle material. So if cast iron, it's a brittle material. So if you are machining cast iron, then you have to grind very small rake angles. Very small means 1 degree or 2 degree. Rake angle has to be there, otherwise your chips will not be guided. If you are machining ductile materials like say aluminum, then this top rake angle can be 5 degree to 6 degree. So this is from the point of true and false type of questions. 2 marks.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Aniket is trying to join. Can you please add him?
I have just a minute. He's in.
Oh, no, sir. Not. No.
He's not Not in the waiting also. He's in, no, now? Aniket?
Oh,
Hello?
so he's still not in. He's saying he's in the waiting list.
But I don't see anybody waiting here.
Yes, so he has joined.
Hello? Yeah, joined, no? Yeah. Yes, okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll continue. Hmm? Yeah. Now, if you don't want to grind the angle, then you can design your square hole which is inside this tool bit in such a way that you get 15 degree. See, now this square hole is at an angle of 15 degree. That means the tool will be fixed up at an angle of 15 degree. So there is no need to grind rake angle of 15 degree on the tool, because you have lifted or you have tilted the tool itself in such a way that the rake angle is generated because of this holder. The square hole, I repeat, which has been drilled or which has been made inside this is at an angle. So that rake angle is automatically generated. I'll make a full screen. These are the various type of cutting tools. This is a round, so this is used for roughing operation. This is used for right hand cutting. See, remember, so you have to keep your palm like this. You have to look at your palm. So if you are using a right hand, you stretch your fingers, and then look at your palm. So your thumb is on the left hand side. So the tool is moving from right to left. So that is what is called the right hand cutting. Now this particular tool will do the cutting over here at this edge. So the tool is moving from tailstock to the headstock. Alright. Whereas this is called as the left hand. So here the tool is moving from headstock to the tailstock. This particular tool is used for parting or for growing. Again, this is also used for parting or growing. In this, you can note that this is a blade like tool. That means this width is very small and the length or the depth is more. So you have to be very careful when you are machining, because even if a slight chip will cause this tool to break, so you should be very careful. These are some kind of form type of tools. Again, this is a right hand tool which moves from tailstock to headstock, and this is your left hand tool which moves from headstock to the tailstock. Let's go for the next slide. Hmm. These are the different operations which can be done on the lathe machine. Again, a 5 marks question. Describe the various operations which can be performed on the lathe machine. As far as possible, you have to draw the diagram, because the diagram makes the things more clear. Normally, sometimes the handwriting is not clear, or examiner they have less time to go through text. So diagram creates a good impact. Now, this is facing off. Now in this, the tool is moving in transverse direction. See, this is the direction. This is the tool is moving in transverse direction. So this is your right hand facing tool. This is the cutting edge. All right. This is the cutting edge, major cutting edge. Parallel turning is also called as the longitudinal turning. Now neutral kind of tool. That means you can use this tool either from here to here, or that is from right to left, or from left to right also. Hmm. This is again a parallel turning, but this is a right hand tool. That means this, see here it is clearly mentioned, right hand turning tool. So you cannot use this tool to cut from left side to right side. You have to go from right to left side only. Whereas a round nose tool can be used for cutting in both the direction, either from right to left or from left to right. Hmm. This is an animated picture of parallel turning or longitudinal turning. So this, see, by VRAN means these diagrams has been picked up from the RAN textbook. So now here the tool is moving in this direction. This is what is called as the longitudinal feed. This is very important. You have to remember. One is longitudinal feed and another is cross feed or transverse feed, which is perpendicular to the screen. Perpendicular to the screen. So you have to learn by heart. One is longitudinal feed and another is transverse feed or cross feed. This is what is your workpiece. This is coolant pipe. Workpiece is held between centers. This is the center and this is the center. This is your tailstock. This is the sleeve. Your tailstock center. ये आपका compound slide है. This is your cross slide and this is what is your longitudinal hand wheel. Now either you can do manually by rotating this hand wheel, or you can do automatically. If you want to do automatically, then you have to engage or disengage this lever. Like our clutch in the car. So we engage the clutch or we disengage the clutch. So if we engage this, then this will slide automatically. So when to use this? If you want to have a good surface finish, because if you are doing manual, then you have to be very careful. Manual turning, it should be very smooth and uniform and steady. Slight jerk will cause the loss of surface finish. So that's why we go for automatic. Automatic means when the labor or the operator is engaged continuously. You cannot perform other work because he has to move the hand wheel, isn't it? So if it is automatic, then that person can be used for some other activities also by the time this operation is done automatically. So it can be performed both, either longitudinal as well as cross. Both the operations can be performed automatically. But remember, I am telling you that this is a compound slide. Compound slide cannot be moved automatically. Compound slide cannot be moved automatically. Compound slide has to be moved manually only. Only cross slide and longitudinal slide can be moved in automatic mode. Remember this. So that's again a question of true and false. Can compound slide can be moved automatically, whether true or false? This is what is your facing operation animation. We're doing facing, and this is top slide or compound slide. If this and this screen is not matching, there may be slight lag, because of the transmission. So you please let me know. Again, this cross slide now he is manually, but you can do also. Knurling is another operation. This. So this is what is your knurling tool is. Knurling tool. This is a workpiece. Generally, we don't move knurling tool longitudinally like this. It is moved transverse direction. We also call this as a plunging operation. Means you are plunging this tool on the workpiece. There are different patterns knurling ka. Straight pattern. This is what is straight pattern. This is a diamond pattern. This is a cross pattern. The purpose of knurling is to get a grip. You must have seen, knobs. Those are all knurled. Imagine if there is no knurling or kind of a rough surface, then it will be difficult to hold and rotate and tighten. So if you have knurling, or if you make the surface rough, then you can hold it properly. The grip can be good. So here, look at this now animated picture. Here the workpiece is rotating and the tool is plunge in and out. So this is what is your knurling operation is. This particular operation is called the parting off. See, this is your diamond knurling. You have a diamond knurling, and this operation is parting off. Means you have a round bar which goes through the, because our spindle is hollow. Last lecture I told most of the machines they have hollow spindle. The purpose of hollow spindle is you can pass a round bar through the spindle. And then you have done this component from the round bar. When the component done, then you part off. Then you pull this bar and do next workpiece. Then again part off. Third, fourth, and it goes on. As I told you, have to remember parting off tool is generally slender, slim and slender. Generally, the width of the parting off tool is 3 mm. Why it is slender? You can have broad, but if it is broad, say I can use 10 mm, which is stronger. But then lot of material is wasted. The scrap will be more. That is one thing. Second thing is, since this is a plunger kind of operation, that is you are pressing it down, the entire cutting edge of the face is in contact and the power consumption is more. Only disadvantage of using 3 mm parting tool is that it can break easily because it is thin and the length of this cutting edge is also more. Generally it is 3 mm by 10 mm or 15 mm depending upon the diameter of the workpiece. For example, suppose if the workpiece diameter is say 30 mm, workpiece diameter is 30 mm, then obviously this parting of tool, the length of the parting of tool will be more than 15 mm. Half the diameter, 15 mm plus 1 mm, 16 mm. Because if you keep exactly 15 mm, then this will touch here, it will rub. So that's why in order to have a clearance, you have to have minimum 16 mm. Now imagine this is 3 mm and this is 16 mm. So your L by D ratio is how much? 16 mm divided by 3 mm. So it is more than 5 times. We don't allow. L by D matlab by diameter or length by width ratio should not be more than 4 mm. That's the maximum. Ideally it should be 3 mm but not more than 4 mm. Now, as I told that this tool tip should match exactly to the center. This, and that's why there was a provision of Woodruff key. This tip should neither be up and nor be down. This center is matching with the chuck ka center. Chuck is somewhere here, all right. But since in the chuck we have not mounted the center, that's why we are setting the height. That means what? We are matching this point with the tailstock height. And this tailstock center and chuck ka center, they are in line. So if you are setting your tool with respect to your tailstock, indirectly you are setting this with respect to your chuck spindle. If it is up or below, the will be proper, tool will blunt fast, tool life will be less. Screw kitting is important operation on the lathe machine. It is like this. The purpose of screw is to move nut. This is V thread 60 degree, and for screw cutting we use lead screw. You have to remember one very important sentence. You can write it down also. The principle of screw cutting is in one rotation of the workpiece. I repeat, in one rotation of the workpiece, the tool will move a distance of one pitch. Now, what do you mean by pitch? Pitch is nothing but the distance between the crest, two consecutive crests. That is from this point to this. So the principle of screw cutting is in one rotation of the workpiece or spindle, the tool should move by pitch. Means suppose pitch for this screw is say 3 mm. In one rotation of the spindle, this tool will move by 3 mm. Then only you will get the desired screw threads. If the pitch is say 2 mm, then this tool will move by 2 mm. So now suppose if the spindle RPM means what? Revolutions per minute. If the spindle RPM is say 100 revolutions per minute, and if I am cutting a pitch 2 mm, this tool will move by a distance of how much? 100 into 2, that is 200 millimeter in a minute. I repeat, see RPM, that is revolutions per minute. The spindle speed is 100 RPM. That means in 1 minute, the spindle is rotating 100 times. And the pitch of the thread is say 2 mm. Means what? In one revolution, this tool will move by 2 mm. That means for 100 revolution, the tool will move 100 into 2, 200 millimeter. And since 100 revolutions are happening in 1 minute, this tool will move by a distance of 200 millimeter per minute. This is the principle of thread cutting. There is one more term which is involved in screw cutting, that is called the lead. Lead is used when you are cutting multiple or multi-start, single start, double start, 3 start. Normally by default it is single start. If it is 2 start, remember now, if it is 2 start, same example. Now suppose if the pitch is 2 mm, and if I am cutting 2 start thread, or if the lead is 2 start thread, then you have to forget pitch, you have to consider lead. So lead is equal to start into pitch. So if the pitch is 2 mm and if the number of start is 2, the lead is equal to 2 into 2, that is 4. If I am cutting 3 start thread, then the lead is equal to 3 into 2, that is 6 mm. Now see, what is the fun now? Now if I want to cut a thread, and if I am using a terminology of lead, then in one revolution, the tool should move by a distance of lead. So if I am cutting a 2 start thread, and if the pitch is 2 mm, that means in one revolution, the tool should move by a distance of 4 mm. If I am cutting a 3 start thread, is 2 mm, then in one revolution of the workpiece, the tool should move by a distance of 6 mm. So if the spindle is rotating at 100 revolutions per minute. Restart thread. So the tool will move by a distance of how much? 200 into 3, that is 600 millimeter in a minute. 600 millimeter, that means you can imagine it is 2 feet. 2 feet. So in 1 minute, the tool moves by a distance of 2 feet. So thread cutting, the movement, the tool movement is always fast. And that's why in thread cutting, we don't take more depth of cut. We take a smaller depth of cut. That is what you have to remember. Hmm? In CNC lathes, you have a dedicated computer. Dedicated computer which is used for giving instructions, which is used for writing the program. Earlier, the instructions were given in the form of tape, that was tape numerical control. Then the instructions were written in the form of written and saved in cassettes. Then computers. Then DNC, that is direct numerical control. And presently means 10 years back it is VNC, that is voice numerical control. That is with the help of voice you are controlling the program, you are giving instructions. So voice is converted into programming instructions, like you are giving instruction in when you are googling, isn't it? Many times you give instructions orally, or some kind of a translation or writing work in your WhatsApp. At time also you give oral instruction, that is nothing but the voice control. Hmm. So CNC we have a separate module, that time we'll see. This is a trainer kind of machine. It's a small machine which we use for training the students, and of course it can be used for cutting small work pieces as well. Hmm. These are also called as the rabbit type of machine. Rabbit matlab chua. Small machines, no? Rabbit. The machines generally these are used for cutting very small parts which are used in your wristwatches. Uh, those parts are very small. So that kind of machines are called as a rabbit machine. See, machines are so huge. Lathe machines are so huge that on the tool post means where the tool is hold, on the tool post the 5.5 feet person can sleep. So big tool post. So you can imagine the size of the machine. And at the same time, the machines are small, so small, lathe machine, like your desktop. It can be mounted on a table. So tabletop machines or desktop machines or rabbit type of machines, all that. Hmm. Again, some more operation, producing a flat surface, producing a cylindrical surface, and producing taper turning. We'll go for the next slide. You can do forming operations like this. Now, when you are doing forming operation, you have to control both the feeds simultaneously. So it depends totally on the skill of the operator. The tool has to move in this direction as well as the tool has to move in this direction, longitudinal direction as well. As I had told earlier in the first lecture, it can be used for drilling also. You know by this time that you can also do parting off operation. Now I'll show you some video in the operations. Few minutes. Let me close this. If I am going fast, please let me know. If I am going slow, then also you let me know. Today one student is absent. I don't know who. I'll come to see the attendance list. Videos playing is slightly, take time. See now, what this operation is? It's a center drilling. This is center drill, and we are performing a center drilling operation. This center drill is held in a tailstock. Right? These are the flutes which are used for guiding the chips. The component is something like this. The component is something like this. This is an entire component. So in this component, what are the different operations you have? This is turned out of a round bar. So you have threading, you have knurling, then you have parting operation, then you have growing operation, then you have taper turning operation, you have straight turning operation, and you have center drilling operation, which we have seen. This is what a component is look like. So this is your center drilling, then threading, different operations. All right, so I'll show you one by one, and then we can take a call. This is your carbide tool, what I was talking. Coated carbide tool, indexable type. This is the shank, which is made out of low cost material. Just another 5 minutes, not more than that. This can be indexed. Now this, if this is blunt, then you can go to the next cutting edge, then here, so like that, 4 from top and then upside down. So altogether you will get 8 cutting edges. This particular operation is chamfering operation. The difference between chamfer and taper is, chamfer is a small one and taper is bigger one. Chamfer is generally a small angle and taper is generally a large angle spread over a larger length. Close this. Another small this is called the die DIE. Hair die jaisa die. This is used for threading. It can be used for threading. You must have seen the plumber doing threading on the pipes on the site. So there are 2 ways of cutting threads. Either you can do manually on the lathe machine, you can cut it with the help of a single point tool, or you can use the die for cutting the threads. This is called the die, and the process is called the thread cutting with the help of a die. Generally, this is faster, but it has a limitation in terms of diameter. Like more than 35 are not suitable to do the threading, whereas manually there is no limitation. Any diameter can be threaded. Two minutes. We are about to finish. Again, this is an indexable insert. This is your workpiece. And this operation is called as the facing operation. Now this tool is moving at some rate or at some velocity, like you are running on the road or you are walking on the road with some velocity. So like that, this tool is moving with some velocity, and that is what is called as the feed rate. Feed rate. And generally the feed rate is given in millimeter per revolution or millimeter per minute. Generally in millimeter per revolution it is 0.1. So if I say 0.1 millimeter per revolution, that means in one revolution of the workpiece the tool will move by 0.1. So if the spindle is rotating at say 100 revolutions per minute, so 100 into 0.1, so that will be 10 millimeter. So in 1 minute the tool will move 10 mm. So unlike threading, here the motion is slow, whereas in threading the motion is fast. This was your casing operation. This is a filing operation just to remove the burr. Filing operation just to remove the burr or to remove the sharp edge. Of course, this is done manually. Sharp edge can cause accidents, can cause damage. We have to be very particular. Sometimes the sharp edges are required also, sometimes, but most of the times sharp edge has to be avoided, because if the edge is sharp, then the stress concentration is very high. Stress concentration is very high, and if the stress concentration is very high, then the component will fail very early. So usually the sharp edges are always avoided, and you have to give either a chamfer or a radius. Now you can identify this operation is obviously growing operation, correct? Followed by chamfering. The growing operation followed by chamfering. Look at this, how slender the growing tool is. How slender. So even if a slight disturbance can break this. So you have to be very extremely careful when you are doing growing operation. Whereas now see, mounting of this is very strong. So nothing will happen to this. It's very strong. This is growing. See, this is what is, used for locking the inserts. We have a special type of Allen key which is used to remove this insert and to fix up this. So with the help of this, you can remove and fix up the insert. This golden color is insert, and this rest of the thing is shank. This is very expensive. See, this is what is a screw is, and which can be loosened or tightened. These insert are called as the indexable insert. This is your knurling tool, and this operation is knurling operation. Either you can move longitudinally or you can do in plunge way also. You can plunge also, but if the width of the workpiece is more and if the width of the knurling tool is less, then you have to perform like this, because in plunging it will not be able to cover up the entire length. This operation is OD turning operation. OD turning. This is OD turning. All these are done with the help of the carbide inserts. So now this is what is called the depth of cut. Depth of cut. You should know this, what is depth of cut and what is the feed rate, because there are numericals. 5 marks for the numericals, 5 to maximum 10 marks. So in that you have to calculate the machining time. So in order to find out the machine or calculate the machining time, you must understand the terms like what is depth of cut and what is feed rate. Now suppose if the depth of cut is 3 mm, the diameter will reduce by 6 mm. There the students make the mistake. I repeat again, if the depth of cut, if the depth of cut is 3 mm, it is always radial, remember. If the depth of cut is 3 mm, then the diameter will reduce by 6 mm, remember. So if the depth of cut is 2 mm, the diameter will reduce by 4 mm. So if I want to reduce the diameter from 28 to 20 mm, 28 to 2 mm, and if the depth of cut is 2 mm, then I have to take 2 passes, because in the first cut the diameter will become from 28 to 24, and in the second pass the diameter will become from 24 to 20. So this you should be careful when you are calculating the machining time. And of course you must know feed rate. Then 0.1 millimeter per revolution, generally the feed rate is 0.1 or 0.2. So if my spindle is 100 and if the feed rate is 0.2, so 100 into 0.2, so 20 millimeter in minute per minute. So if the length now is, if the length to be turned is say 50 or say 60 mm, and if my feed rate is now 20 millimeter per minute, so how much time it will take? 60 divided by 20, so 3 minutes. Like that you have to calculate the machining time. If the length is 60 and if the feed is 20 millimeter per minute, remember millimeter per revolution I have converted into millimeter per minute, so the time will be 3 minutes. And you have to find out the RPM by using formula V is equal to pi d n upon 1000. V is nothing but the cutting speed. We generally take it as 25 meters per minute, and d is nothing but the diameter to be turned. So we know V, which is 25, we know diameter, and from that we calculate the n, which is nothing but the spindle RPM. So once you get n, then you can find out the feed rate. Just 2 minutes now. This particular operation is parting off. Look how slender the tool is. And now the piece falls. This operation is parting off operation. Very careful, and these tools are also, inserts are also expensive. You should have some arrangement for catching the component, otherwise the component will fall down and will get damaged. So moment it is part of, it is about to fall, so this center you have to remove, and you should have something which is called the part catcher. So the part catcher, it collects the component, so the component is not damaged. Just 2 minutes. This is a taper turning operation. See, as I told, the angles are large. Angles are large and the length is also more, unlike your chamfer. So this we call as the chamfer and this we call as the taper. This is your chamfer and this is your taper. See, you must have noticed the shape of the tools, how the shape of the tools are. See, this particular insert is called as the DNMG. So this angle is 30 degree between the cutting edges. 30 degree. When you are doing machining, you have to see that this cutting edge doesn't touch anywhere, otherwise this finish will get spoiled. Of course, this insert is not strong because the angle is less. The square wala insert hai, those are strong inserts. The angle is 90 degree. Generally, the angle varies from 90 degree to 30 degree. This is your threading operation. This is threading insert. So in threading, the feed rate is very high and you have to take number of cuts. You cannot finish thread in just one cut. Generally, you have to take 7 to 9 cuts. There are formula how many cuts has to be taken. Generally, 7 to 9 cuts are required to finish the threads. Because the thread depth is 3 mm, you have to take series of cuts 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Why? Because the feed rate is high. Feed rate is high. I have given you example, isn't it? It moves at the rate of 200 millimeter per minute, whereas normal feed rates are 20 millimeter per minute. So if you give depth of cut is more, then definitely this insert will break. So that's why you have to give very small cuts. So today we have seen various operations. I also summarized the last lecture. What operations can be done, what is tool post, type of the tool post, what are the chuck, what are the different parts, what is feed screw, what is lead screw. So we'll stop here. I must thank bearing with me and my apology for extending the workpiece, for extending the lecture, since we started also little late and I wanted to cover up this presentation. Otherwise next time again I have to open this video. So if you have any questions, fine. Otherwise you please enjoy your break, because I know that at 11:30 you have another lecture. You want me to, if anybody have doubts, I can quickly go through it. Aniket,
Sir, everybody is leaving. I guess the next lecture is starting in 5 minutes.
Okay, fine. Fine. If you have any doubt, you can ask me also on the phone. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So hmm, we'll close this session. Thanks again and apology for extending. Bye. And if you're appointing here, just let me know. Thank you. Adnan, you want to ask anything? Yeah. Adnan and Aniket, you want to ask anything? You are still in the meeting, I think. Adnan, are you there? Okay, I'll take your leave.